CULT DAO, we are a decentralized autonomous organization. And what that means is that it's not controlled by any one person. Everyone who owns the token and has at stake participates in the voting process and participates in the proposals that we bring forward. And so what the proposals are, we invest in projects that further decentralization, or they fight against centralization, or they directly benefit a noble cause. So we consider ourselves a public good, and we are a regenerative finance project where we invest in things that help the decentralized space and help common good for your fellow man. So we're not a meme coin, we're not a degen coin. I initially thought it was when I was first learning about CULT DAO, but I learned that that wasn't the case. We have something called the manifesto, and so that is kind of like an article, but it's more in depth. But it was written by Mr. Omodulus, who is one of the co-founders, and the piece goes over everything that he wanted to say about his ideas about decentralization and fighting tyranny. And so it's really in-depth piece. It goes over a lot, but the gist of it is about overcoming centralization, fighting tyranny, giving power back to the people so that you are sovereign and you have the ability to be in control of both your finances and both yourself. We fight for privacy as well. We donated funds to the Tornado Cash Legal Defense Fund. So we're very involved in projects that align with the manifesto. We aren't just looking to just invest in any old token. We want to make sure that the projects we invest in meet at least one of those guidelines in the manifesto. We are really trying to focus on projects that align with the manifesto as far as changing the Web3 space, where it is making radical changes. And it's not just about getting rich, though, that is the hope that we would, of course, have some financial incentives and some profits from that. We also say that our return on investment isn't always measured by finances. It may also be measured by the changes that we've made in the world. It may be measured by onboarding new people from the projects that we've invested in. So it's very, very different from your typical meme coin. And we don't consider ourselves a meme coin. We consider ourselves an alternate coin. I got involved in CULT DAO in April, and I didn't really get involved in the DAO until June. And because of how much I purchased, I am one of the top 50 holders, which means I am one of the guardians. So the guardians, not all of them, but a lot of them are active. And so when you're an active guardian, you participate in the proposal process. We are responsible for guiding the proposals and kind of keeping track of them and putting the proposals up for a vote. If you want to talk about the proposals, we have funded 107 proposals so far, right about $2 million that we have invested. And they're all different types of investments. Some are simply purchasing tokens, like the first proposal I put up, like I mentioned, was purchasing Bitcoin. And we have just done that where we have invested in projects where we have some sort of agreement where we purchase their tokens and then we hold for a certain period of time. And, we're looking for appreciation and value, of course. And there are some too where we have provided a seed investment where we have given them CULT and they, have used that for different expenses. And there's sometimes agreements where they just hold on to us, the CULT tokens. Some of them have provided us an allocation of their tokens, and maybe the tokens haven't come out yet, but when their token comes out, we're going to be given a certain percentage of them, and then we would hold on to them, for a certain period of time. So every investment is different. It's completely individualized, and each project is very individualized. We go through entire process of choosing those projects that we invest in. Like I mentioned before, you have to meet at least one of the 3 pillars of the manifesto. The projects can come from all different sources. Any one of the many can bring up the proposal, and the many are the people who hold CULT tokens and they have them staked, but they are not part of the top 50 guardians. So they can bring a proposal up. One of the guardians can bring a proposal up, or we also have projects that come to us directly and ask us to invest in them. And so our process for doing that has changed somewhat. Now, I would say 99% of the time, we have what's called a workshop. And a workshop is we open up a channel in Discord, and it gives everyone an opportunity to ask questions of the project that we're investing in, to critique, and we debate about it. We have some really, really smart people in CULT DAO who are very serious about this. And we want to make sure that we are investing in solid projects. We don't want to just be giving away our money to lose it. We want to, have projects that fit our guidelines. And like I say, it's just a really, really completely different project than buying, some Inu coin where there's really nothing for you to do other than just to hold your token and hope that it goes up in value. So this is very much a hands-on project. A lot of our members are very, very involved. And like I say, it's just completely voluntary, but that's how much people care about it.
If I understood correctly, it's going to be a new blockchain that CULT is going to be moving. And I think it's pretty exciting also because CULT has a very innovative model. Every time that somebody does a transaction, 0.4% goes to the treasury. So not many DAOs or community do something like that. So it really has a great potential to not only increase the treasure of CULT, but actually become a more sustainable organization. So I'm curious, how do you see those new updates, like the progress, the future of CULT?
Sure. So, and actually, if I could kind of go back to the tokenomics a little bit. So, any transaction with CULT there's a 0.4% tax, and that feeds our treasury. And then just to explain also just a little bit about the treasury, and because it does speak to our future. So typically when we invest in a protocol, we send them, the contract has 15.5 ETH of CULT that goes out, and 2.5 ETH worth of CULT is burned. And then 13 ETH goes to the investee protocol. And so we invest in that protocol. And then at the end of that, whenever the terms of that agreement is completed, then they send that CULT back to us. 50% is burnt, and 50% goes back to the stakers as a reward. And it's not just 13 ETH at that point, it's however it's matured. So we may have a 10x on that investment. So, we may get 130 ETH worth of CULT back. So they do have to buy that back from us. And so, like I said, it goes back to the stakers, and all those transactions continue to feed our treasury. And so as our treasury builds up, then we can invest in more. So it's just a continuous cycle. And then so the next thing that we have coming out is a ZK EVM chain. And so it's a layer 2 protocol built on the Ethereum chain. And when that comes out, the gas for that chain will be the CULT token. We are already very deflationary, but once that comes out, we are going to be hyper deflationary. We started out with 6.666 trillion worth of CULT, and so far we've burnt right about 25% of that already. So when that chain comes out, it's just going to be very exciting. But so with that new chain that's coming out, we are really looking for revolutionary projects to build on that really align with our manifesto. We want projects that are looking to really further the cause of decentralization, and ones that are really looking to end banks' control of our money, to projects that are about privacy, projects that really have the spirit of our manifesto and the ethos that we have in there. So that's definitely one of our big things that's coming up. And I think once that comes out, it's just given us so much more potential, besides already the fact that, all the wonderful things that we're accomplishing. I just think that that adds a lot more value. It really makes the potential unlimited on what we can do.